What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning back into another video. In today's video, we're actually going to be showing you guys a nice alternative for expensive mounts. If you can't afford to get like the fully billet ones, the next alternative would be a mid-plate, and it actually has a lot more benefits to running one of these rather than running those full solid mounts. But we're going to touch base a little bit more on that in just a little bit. Before we get started, I just want to say thank you to everybody who has supported over the last couple months as well as the last couple years. I think we just hit 41,600 subscribers. The amount of support is unreal, and I just wanted to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much. If you aren't already subscribed though and you're new to the channel, make sure to hit the subscribe and notification bell right now, and you're going to see a whole bunch of not only build content, but having fun, going to the dyno, going to the track, and just having a good just a good time all around. That being said, let's get the video started and show you exactly what we're gonna do. All right, so one thing that I always wanted to keep in mind when building a car was that the drivability would be comfortable and wouldn't be some crazy like rattle of a race car or something, you know? Even on the Integra, back when it was running with the rubber insert, like the polyurethane, whatever you wanna call it, the motor mounts, I had something called a mid-plate, which this time we actually got it from our boys over Brandon. If you wanna check out his Instagram, it's this right here, and I'll tag it down below as well. And this basically attaches to the transmission, and then from this portion right here goes to the traction bar. Obviously we run traction bars on these cars because you know, we need traction. And this goes right here. Once you position it, you'll weld it on and drill out a hole where you want exactly. And what this is going to do is going to avoid the flex of your motor when it goes like this. If you look at dyno videos or you look at motors accelerating and sometimes they twist backwards, it's the play within your mounts. And obviously, like I said, we don't always want fully solid mounts because we want drivability to still be good and idle not to be crazy. Like we have the Hasport mounts right here, which are good, like decent performance ones in the sense of not running the fully hard ones, and feels great drivability. So what this is gonna do, this is gonna allow us to have that smooth drivability and that smooth idle without being super rattly, while still under hard acceleration, not allowing the movement of the motor. Because when you move the motor backwards, you have misalignment of the axles, because obviously your half shaft is moving as well as your transmission. Then you can have wheel hop. It can contribute to your suspension not being fine-tuned how it is, like if you get a corner balanced, a whole bunch of things. Very important to have something like this. Hit him up if you're trying to get one, and hopefully he does another run of them. I know he had about 5 or 6 of them in the last run, and I'm sure he's gonna make some more and try to get them sold. Great price. I appreciate the stickers too. I'm gonna put this one on my toolbox and this one on the back of the car. Real-time 4-wheel drive. Love it. That being said, let me show you exactly under the car. I have a little light just shining exactly where it's gonna be bolted. Now, if you're doing this to a 100% OEM car, right here where the flywheel is actually visible, 99% of the time there's a little cover. That little cover is held on by some big bolts and some small bolts. You'll just pull those off. In our case, 90% of swap cars never have those bolts. So we're not encountering that right now. And this will get bolted right over here. Come to find out right now, I actually still have an Oem Flywheel. I never ran an aftermarket one just because I wanted it to be a little heavier. And since it's a stroker motor, I didn't want it to rev up super fast like it would normally, especially since the transmission gears are so short. I wanted to stick with the Oem Flywheel. Actually, on aftermarket flywheels, this basically the counterweight on the back of it doesn't exist. So it's 100% flush. It actually goes inwards a little and it meets at the teeth. We have the back plate of it. So that being said, we're actually running into this portion right here of the mid plate is touching it since this isn't flush. Looking at it right now, I'm still gonna be able to bolt this one, the big one, as well as that right there and the top corner and this one right there, 100% good. What I think I'm gonna have to do though is trim this bottom portion and actually cut it so it can clear the back of the flywheel. Unfortunately, like I said, I'm not running an aftermarket flywheel, which this would work perfectly with, but I'm still using that OEM one, which for high horsepower probably isn't the best idea, but whatever. We're gonna make this work, and I'll get this bolted up in just a little bit. Just gotta trim away this. I think I'm gonna put some temporary bolts just to hold it in place and kind of trace what I need to cut, and then we'll go from there. Fun fact, if you don't know what bolts to use, the bell housing bolt is the exact same thread on the bottom of the transmission as it is on the top. So you're just gonna need some shorter bolts like out of a bell housing. Or you can just take this to the parts store and be like, hey, I need this thread or whatever, and they'll get you set up. So right here, I have it in place, and I kind of etched out where I need to cut exactly for it to clear the flywheel. So I'm gonna do that cut right there, just with a little cutoff wheel. And there's also the 10mm right there, a couple more spots right there. But this is just a rough mock-up, and we're gonna get that cut off right now, and yeah, get to cutting. All right, guys, I'm all set up right here. Just got a little clamp holding the mid plate onto that bench. Normally cut stuff or weld stuff on there as well. And my cutoff wheel is set up. Obviously, the most important thing is my safety goggles because I don't want any stuff in my eyes. And let's go ahead and start cutting. That's the rough cut. Let's hit it with the flap disc. Try to get it cleaned up a little. I am absolutely filled with metal particles and everything, but there's the cut. Here's our rough cut that we cut out. It's super hard to use one of these cutoff discs to actually, or this cutoff disc, to actually give it an angle, but we gave it like rough cuts and then cleaned it up with the flap disc. Looks okay, and I think it should fit pretty nicely on the car right now, so I'm gonna unclamp it and actually test fit it again. Getting ready to go back under the car. We already have it in place using the 10 millimeters on the corners. Obviously, we cut a little bit more than we needed to. That's what happens when you cut a lot. Measure twice and cut once, guys, because then you can have more meat on your mid plate. But this is still gonna perform wonderfully. This is a very, very strong piece of steel, so whatever is there is gonna be much better than what it is. Next, we have these little ears that are gonna get welded onto the traction bar. Obviously, you can see they're already shaped to the traction bar. This is how 99% of Hondas that use traction bars look like. And if you look at the curves on it, it's actually the exact same style. One short leg and one long leg. So depending on how you have your car set up and how exactly you're gonna mount it, the angle-wise, you can flip one side or the other. On ours, we're gonna do the short ear on top and the long ear on bottom. And we're just gonna position it exactly how we feel comfortable. I'm gonna try to shoot for the most center possible. And the important thing to note is that when you're doing this, there's a little more light for you. Oh, sorry for my shaky hands. When you're doing this, you wanna make sure that this ear and the ear that's on the other side is gonna be lined up 100%. That being said, like the bottom is gonna be the same angle. That way when you drill the hole through the mid plate or mark it and then drill it, you're actually gonna have a perfect alignment of these holes right there. Hope you guys can see with the angle. I'm gonna be doing about from right here to right there, and then maybe I'll do a little bit more actually on one side. That way I have a good contact patch for the ground on the welder.
I basically marked off what side I'm going to start, what side I'm going to stop. Now I'm taking the mid plate off. That way I can actually get in the little crevice that I need to get to actually weld it correctly, or to grind it off correctly, excuse me.
I get a little bit more on the bottom. Now we're lining up again where we're gonna tack weld this on. Looks like I can weld all around right there. And I should be good to do this side too. I actually should grind just a tad more. Actually, no, I'm perfect right there. So on one of these tabs, I'm actually gonna weld on the outside and on the inside. For the other side, I'm not gonna be able to weld on the inside just because of how it's angled out. But now I know exactly how I want it. Let me just turn on my welder real quick, get that started, and I can do a couple tacks on it and then actually mark exactly where it's gonna sit. All right, guys, if I'm out of the angle, I do apologize, but I'm gonna try to get the best without blocking the view. First thing I'm gonna do is tack this up. The traction bar is a little too thick to actually put the clamp of the ground on. So we're actually just gonna ground the tab itself. And once we get it tacked on, it'll, ground everything else. Cause you only need to, we're just gonna get it tacked on real quick. But let me show you guys that. Just gonna put the mask on. I'm kind of gonna hold it onto the mid plate right there. That way it's nice and firm. Actually, before I do that, I'm just gonna verify that the position I have is like I'm able to do it by putting the other one on as well. Making sure that that's gonna be good right there. Pull that one in a little bit. Looks like that's gonna be pretty good. So yeah, let's get that tacked up. I was not even close to it. Let me actually get under the car. Sorry if you guys aren't gonna be able to see it, but I need to see where I'm welding. Woo! Oh my gosh. Whole bunch of holes in my shirt from welding that. That one's in place. All right, I hope this angle is okay for you guys. It's what's easiest for me. I'll add a little light. Let's see if that helps out. I am all burnt up. Let's try that again. I need a MIG, guys. This flux core crap sucks. But making the best out of what I got. Woo, that did not work. I feel like I got splatter in my eye. That side came out okay. Actually, this side came out a lot better than the other side. Here's the first side. Whole bunch of glob. Looks pretty bad. Then the inside looks a lot better. Not as much penetration, but still decent. So now I'm gonna mock up the mid plate again and clamp on nice and straight the angle of where I need the other ear. Go from there. Do the exact same thing. Another real ugly weld, but she'll do. She got it all the way around, and you can tell it's nice and sturdy. It's not perfect, definitely not perfect. Wish I had a MIG. I gotta get a bottle for that. But the ears are almost perfect right there aligned. They moved a little because the vice grip that I had holding it in place. Actually, I hit it by accident when I did the tack. But now I'm just gonna mark with the Sharpie right there exactly where I need the hole. Mark it and then drop the mid plate and do the little hole with the drill and line it back up. There we go, got the hole drilled out, and it's slightly bigger than the bolt that I'm gonna be using just so I can make sure that everything's aligned. And once it crushes, it'll actually, form itself into place. So I'm gonna throw this back on with the bolt, 2 washers. I wish I had a crush washer, but I don't at the moment. I'll get one in the future. But 2 washers with some nice hardware onto there, and go from there. Here we go, bolted on. Nut and bolt, a couple washers into place. Look at all the splatter from that flux core onto my radiator. I'm gonna have to clean that off right now. Well, that's on there. 2 bolts are holding it right there. These are just for alignment at the moment. I'm gonna go to the store and get some of these bolts, the 17s. That way I can have it nice and secure onto there. And the install is almost done. I'm just gonna throw some spray paint onto here. That way the flux won't actually rust and it'll be nice and safe. And the mid plate install is almost done. I actually found some bolts over here so I didn't have to run out to the store. But here is the finished product. Got the 10mm up there, 17 down there, as well as right here. and then to the traction bar. And this isn't only gonna stop the flex, this is also gonna add strength to the traction bar. Make sure that this doesn't move, especially on the CRXs. A lot of people run the traction bar that goes down here just so it won't have any back and forth movement. I rather run that personally, but this is actually gonna stop the back and forth movement as well. And it still only has one point that connects there, and then a washer basically that goes over top to the back one. But I really wanted to see if I could get this to stop moving, and this is actually gonna also help a lot for that. Kind of serve two purposes. And there she is. All right, so that does sum up the video for today. As you guys saw, it's already fully bolted on underneath the car. Everything is nice and sturdy. And actually, when you lift the car by the traction bar now, it actually doesn't bend how it used to, because it has that center support on the engine. So the engine supports the traction bar supports the engine. It's like a give and take, and it works perfectly. Huge shout out to my boy Brandon. Make sure to go show him some love over there on Instagram. Not only is he like really cool and has these nice parts, but you got to check out his car. He's got an EF that's all-wheel drive, B series. He just got done ceramic coating all the hot side, a couple of the cold side components too. The car looks spectacular. So go check him out right now. That being said, we're gonna wrap up the video for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said earlier, if you aren't already subscribed, make sure to hit subscribe and the notification bell, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.